Business news: the queues for premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, cleared suddenly in some parts of Abuja, Niger, Nasarawa, and other states yesterday, following the release of about 67 million litres of PMS by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and to marketers. Virtually all the major filling stations that used to have heavy queues before now are dispensing fuel to the cars cited in their various outlets. This came after the NNPC revealed that some 67 million litres daily supply of PMS was not only smuggled by trucks to neighboring countries, but through marine vessels. Speaking on the lingering fuel scarcity, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, explains that when product is less than 60 million litres of evacuation consistently for more than 3 days, there is a crisis across the country. He also promises to add volumes to the market to fill the gaps and achieve normalcy. Following the recent downward review of Nigeria's ratings last week, Moody's Investor Services, an international ratings agency, has again downgraded 9 Nigerian banks. The downgraded banks are Access Bank PLC, Zenith Bank PLC, First Bank PLC of Nigeria Limited, United Bank for Africa PLC, Guaranty Trust Bank Limited, Union Bank of Nigeria, Fidelity Bank, First City Monument Bank, and Sterling Bank PLC. According to the report, the downgrade of the long-term ratings of the affected banks reflected a combination of 2 factors: the weakening operation environment, lowering of its micro profile to very weak, and from weak plus to interlinkages between the sovereigns weakened and the bank's balance sheet, giving the bank significant holdings of sovereign debt securities. It further revised macro profile for Nigeria that depressed and uncertain oil production, capital outflows amid flight to quality, and government-constrained access to external fundings will likely continue to weigh on Nigeria's external positions in 2023. With the rolling out of the 5G network in Nigeria, industry analysts have projected that foreign direct investments in the telecommunications industry will increase to $150 billion in the next 2 years. According to research, 5G network and other emerging technologies will attract more foreign investments into the country, noting that investors across the world are willing to invest in new technologies in the developing country. Chief Executive Officer of Carrier Assets Management Limited, Mr. Justin Chukwu Abolaji Adebayo, says that Nigeria would attract more FDI than the African continent due to its large economy and population. Nigeria offers many investments and business opportunities and advantages in the information and communications technology sector, with about 65% of its youth within the IT savvy network. Now, Nigeria's tech startups have attracted over $2 billion funding as at 2022. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria is insisting that the ICANN Act must be amended to solve some of the economic challenges confronting the company. This stance was taken during the celebration of the 58th National President of the Institute, Mr. Tijani Isha. We have more in this report.
From about 250 members in 1965, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria grew to over 60,000 members in 2022. While celebrating their 58th national president at this gathering, the members also discussed national issues affecting the economic development in Nigeria.
Unfortunately,
some of the issues raised include corruption and members of the institution not getting political appointment.
Tell me a leader who is not corrupt, or a country, where there is no corruption, but it's a matter of degree. And it's a matter of your internal controls. And it's a matter of the development, your economic development. This is the first of the issues I wanted to raise. If chartered accountants want positions, think that certain positions should go to them, then they should go into politics. Because there are 2 ways. Either you're in politics, or somebody who has power and is in the position to appoint, then he will pick you up, probably because you are a classmate or whatever relationship. But if you are active in politics, then certainly you will be called upon to serve.
Many have opposed the amendment of the ICANN Act of 1965. According to them, the amendment would address the economic challenges in the country.
We need to change the system of amending our laws to make it a bit more flexible. I know the problem that confronts the ICANN Act. A lot of interest. People do not want the act to be amended because a lot of people are trying to take over some functions that ICANN does. And so they fight, they lobby, they do all kinds of things in assembly. And that is why the ICANN Act has remained. But ICANN will remain consistent. ICANN will remain focused. ICANN will remain committed to providing the services that they are hitherto entitled to provide.
As more people join ICANN, the members are also encouraging Nigerians to be more involved in politics so as to pick the best leader for the next 4 years. Inioluwa Ogwola, TVC News, Lagos.
Asian shares soared today while the dollar eased after Federal Reserve's Chair Jerome Powell said a disinflationary process is underway, boosting risk appetite as investors hope the climb in U.S. interest rates will come to an end soon. MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside of Japan was 0.91% higher today. Japan's Nikkei rose 0.1%. Australia's S&P ASX 200 was 0.1% higher. Chinese stocks were 0.11% higher, while Hong Kong Hang Seng Index was up nearly 1%. Euro Stock 50 futures was up 0.74%. German DAX 0.74% higher than FTSE futures 0.46%. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq closed sharply higher overnight. In the currency market, the dollar spiked lower following Powell's remarks falling and failing to a fresh 9 months low of 100.80 on Wednesday and raising to 100.89 as at today. U.S. central bank scaled back to 25 basis points increase after a year of larger hikes and set aside list of reasons ranging from war to the pandemic driving prices higher. The Federal Reserve said it has turned the fight against high inflation, although interest rates may be increased further, but will remain elevated at least through 2023. Fed's Chair Jerome Powell says disinflationary processes are underway. However, policymakers project ongoing increases in borrowing costs would be needed and push back against an expectation in financial markets that the Fed would pause soon and cut the rates later in the year. Gasoline consumption and imports in Indonesia, Asia's largest importer of the motor fuel, could hit records this year as the nation recovers from COVID-19 related travel curbs. Gasoline consumption headed for an all-time high of 670,000 barrels per day in 2020, surges from a record of 635,000 barrels per day in 2022. According to a senior oil markets analyst, Mr. Sophia Gudi Sante, he says post-COVID recovery is the main driver behind the growth in demand. He also projects a hike in demand and a strong economic growth and mobility. All data research also shows an estimate of 15 million tons imports for 2022, up from 11.5 million tons in 2021. However, growth is expected to slow down due to several fuel price increases last year and potential recessionary effects. Crude oil prices rebounded today after tumbling in the previous session after a weaker dollar brought back some appetite for risk assets, and the OPEC Plus decision to roll over an output quote helped ease oversupply concerns. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude sells at $76.97 per barrel with an upward price margin of 0.70%. Brent crude futures also experienced an upward price review of 0.60%. To sell at $83.37. Bonnie Light sells at $84.43. It's down 1.34%, and the OPEC basket crude oil dealers are offering $81.95 with a downward price review of 1.80%.